An immigrant from Germany was a popular guy in Lehigh Valley in the 1870s. His beer had something to do with it. So did his generosity. Here's tonight's History's headlines.
In 1857, a 19-year-old from what we now know as Germany hopped on a ship headed for America.
It was a time when people were on the move. Go to America, look to America, see America as a place where you could change and grow.
But when Benedict Nuding landed at Castle Garden in New York, opportunity was scarce as the nation was in a depression.
He had heard about the German-oriented community in Bethlehem.
There, he found a job working during the winter at a brewery that later became known as Yule's. But circumstances would lead Nuding to take a break from the beer world.
When the Civil War broke out, he joined a military unit, an artillery unit. He was at the Battle of Fredericksburg, and he was at Antietam, he was at Mary's Heights.
After battle, it was back to beer in Bethlehem at the same brewery until he decided to do his own thing in 1874.
Nuding decided, hey, I want to start my own brewery. I know enough now, I can do it.
He eventually opened up the Germania Hotel in Allentown. Hotel was a euphemism for bar or saloon. He ran his brewery in the back.
He was a very popular host.
Very popular and successful, which allowed him to get involved with other investments, including a failing newspaper.
Called the Allentown Critic at that point.
Uninterested in the paper business, Nuding eventually offered his partners to take over his shares for 3 years until they could turn things around and pay him back interest-free. The founder of the Morning Call, which it later became, never forgot his generosity.
If it wasn't for him, we might have not had a newspaper.
After falling ill in the early 1900s, Nuding left the brewery business too, handing things over to business partner and fellow German Louis Neuweiler.
Finally, Nuding said, here, you move out, you can have the business. So he devoted the rest of his life, which went till 1930, to charitable contributions.
Which is perhaps his biggest legacy.
Mr. Nuding was a kind of man that everybody liked. Although he was a wealthy man, he was a part-time person, no one ever thought of him as a greedy person.
And remember, there is always more to the story at WFMZ.com. You'll find History's headlines in the features section.